Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Logical Hippie Show. Here we are on YouTube. You can check out my channel. Hit the subscribe button if you would. Like my content. I appreciate all you followers. It's very much appreciated. You can email me at logicalhippie@gmail.com. And that's where I'm at. If you want to create a dialogue, I am here for you too. So let's check it out. This is the lineup we got for you today. Sunday night. And had a good weekend. It's kind of weird getting back to it. You know, I have these weekends off, and then I got to get myself amped up to get back on here and give you guys the data that I feel is necessary to discuss the topics at hand. You know, I don't know if it's making a difference. I'm hoping it's changing some lives out there because, man, we are being duped. So duped wicked hard right now. So we start with the prayer. Wayne Dyer and Taoism, dive into a little bit of Hafiz. If you've ever heard of Hafiz, I might be pronouncing his name incorrectly. I apologize, no disrespect. Hafiz was I believe he was born in Afghanistan. We'll get a little bit more into the details there as the show goes on, but I want to read a little bit about what he does. He actually was Ralph Waldo Emerson called him the poet for poets. So he's a pretty popular dude. So anyway, CDC numbers, dude, I don't even know if this stuff even makes any sense anymore. Really? It's so weird what's going on. Everything that's going on, there's so much information out there and a lot of not truths, non-truths. And it's really hard to know what's right and what isn't right and what to follow, what not to follow, what to believe. And it makes things very hard. And life is hard enough right now as it is. Like, it's amazing. I social distance pretty well on a regular basis anyway, but it's getting a little weird with not having society go back to normal function yet. How much longer are we going to be sitting like this? It ain't good for people. My brother lives in Chicago, and he was mentioning recently that a lot of people are killing themselves. Like, stuff ain't good, right? But, at least we're saving some of these people from the coronavirus that's killing a very low percentage. We got that. We got stuff about food and food dyes, discernment, and, man, it's Easter. We got to talk a little bit about Easter and Christmas. I think it's a good topic to kind of bring up at this time. So let's think about those things as we head into today's show. Of course, we got to start with the prayer, and there's nothing I want to do more than make sure we take care of that and send out our energy for the world right now to those who are struggling and suffering and need a little more boost in their energy. And hopefully we can do something where we share that with them and give them the hope and courage and strength that they need, whether they know it or not. Maybe it comes from somewhere and you're changing somebody's lives out there that's working their butts off, one of the nurses or doctors or one of the people, the essential workers, if you will. And then even those who aren't essential workers, people that are sitting at home, staying home, who aren't working with their families. Stuff is tough right now. So we need to be thinking about everybody out there that's been affected by this. So let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful day today, Easter Sunday. Got to spend it with my kids and my mom. I had a beautiful Easter dinner tonight at my place and have my power back on, which is just a major blessing. And it's amazing how much we rely on that stuff and how wonderful it is to have. And it's extremely, we're extremely thankful for when the power comes back on. And thank you for all the wonderful things in our life. And please pray for those who need the help right now, who are really struggling and trying to get through this. And we will give them as much strength through this prayer as we can. And we send that through you because you are the one that helps us send that love and that message for everybody else. So amen to that. God bless my family and God bless your family too. I mean that. So let's do this. All right, today's episode is brought by Kangen Water, electrolyzed, ionized, rapid cellular hydration water. It is the best water on the planet. So you got to get yourself one of these things. You can have one literally for no more than $5 a day. You're already spending that kind of money, so why wouldn't you have one? Plus, you get unlimited hand sanitizer. You can water your plants by setting the pH to a specific plant healthy level of pH. If you want to balance the pH for your plants, you can set between 6.0 and 7.0, which is kind of about where they float. It's beauty water, cleaning water, hand sanitizer, cleans your counters, emulsifies oil, and is the best drinking water on the planet so that it hydrates your cells at the cellular level and helps you fight off any kind of diseases, bacteria, and things like that. It makes your body, it puts it at a higher functioning level. It's not magic water. It's just electrified water. But the difference is that it creates a hydrogen ion that is the most abundant antioxidant on the planet. If you could eat 5 quarts of blueberries, would you do it? If you could fight off a virus by eating 5 quarts of blueberries, would you do it? Of course you would. Or you could just drink a glass of this water. And the only way to get it is if you buy the machine and produce it yourself for $5 a day. I know you can afford it because you're already spending the money. I guarantee if we did a budget on what you spend already, it is already in your pocket and you're already throwing it away, if not more. So if health is really the key to your life, if that's where you see you want to live a long time, you want to eat right, you want to do the right things, you need yourself the right kind of water. You know, I always relate it to plants. We're a lot like plants, 75% water, right? So when you take care of your plants, what do? You water it, you water it, you water it. And then some days you add a little bit of food in that water, and then you water it, water it, water. You're adding 75% water or more and just a little bit of food, 25%? So are we the same way? I got to wonder that, really. It's like, so if we just use water on ourselves, like 75% water, and that's what we drink, and then 25% of our day is just food, so it's really not that much. And you eat some peanuts, eat some cashews, eat some berries, you're probably good for the day. I mean, you know, if you really think about it, of course you need some vitamins, you need your nutrients, you need your other things too. I'm not saying go back to just eating peanuts and cashews, but George Washington and his troops did live on flour water for a long time. So I think, you know, I'd be okay with eating a bunch of cashews if it helped me survive with my special water. So there's that. Let's get into Wayne Dyer this evening, and we are on verse 11 of the Tao. So this one's a little bit of an intense one. It's one to really consider, thought-provoking, if you will. So the 11th verse goes like this. 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is on the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness. The usefulness of what is depends on what is not. And basically the meaning of that is everything has a purpose. So even though like you make these really fancy, nice windows, you can't appreciate those fancy, nice windows if you don't have a room to sit in there to appreciate them with. So the empty space of your room is what makes the room a room and what makes the window special. And you know, the same thing with a container. It's the container is not a container unless it is empty inside or it has the ability to hold something. So it's a really interesting perspective from Lao Tzu in this one, as he considers kind of the paradoxical duality of life, which is we cannot live without one thing or the other. We need both to exist. We need the good and evil, so that, you know, we don't know good without evil, and we don't know evil without good. When we know somebody is a good person and they treat us nicely, then we're able to see it when somebody who's maybe not so good, isn't so nice to us, how they treat us, and we kind of put those people to a different category. And it's necessary, though, to have both those people in your life so you can understand the difference between the two of them. So let's move on. I just got into this Hafiz, and if you haven't heard of Hafiz, he was a tremendous poet back in the 1300 AD. And a lot of his teachings, a lot of his writings are very strong, very renowned. In fact, his Divani Hafiz was or is the um, most sold copies in Iran. Then it has sold more copies of the Divani Hafiz than the Quran. And I find that absolutely fascinating that this guy with all these poems, I've never really even heard of this guy until recently. But I'd always heard of the Quran like it was some super popular book. That has been manipulated over time, a lot like the Bible. So anyway, let's look at this. Hafiz was born and lived in the city of Shiraz. During the preparation of this manuscript, I was able to read several of these poems to a Persian friend who comes from generations of Shiraz-born families. It is an amazing fact that this book has sold more, his poems has sold more copies than the Quran. This is an amazing fact given the religious and political climate in Iran. The number of authentic poems that Hafiz left is uncertain and still argued about. That number is presumed to be between 500 and 700. Though this is only 10% of his estimated output, the vast majority of his work is said to have been destroyed by clerics and rulers who just disapproved of the content of his poems. So they were gaslighting him. They were eliminating freedom of speech, which is interesting because it's still going on today. Anybody who's opposition to what the elite approve of, then those people get censored. That's why Facebook's censoring people, and YouTube and Twitter and all the elitists are, Facebook has fact checkers now. Like, who's fact checking the Facebook people? Like, who says these Facebook people are legitimate fact checkers? What makes them all high and mighty? Because they can, because they have the capabilities, so they can censor the information that they don't agree with, that they don't want anybody to see because maybe it's truthful. If there was a problem with information and misinformation, then why are tabloids still around? Why is Rachel Maddow still get to be on the news, or any of these liberal news organizations, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, CSNBC, they've all been proven to be false, from the Russian collusion, Ukraine collusion, Kavanaugh, Jussie Smollett. All these different news organizations have been wrong since Trump took office, yet they're still allowed to put out their idiocy. But Facebook has fact checkers. So when are we going to start seeing Facebook fact check and censor CNN information? I'd love to see that, honestly. I really would. So anyway, let's get back to it. It is disheartening to contemplate the loss of so much beauty and divine intelligence from this world. Hafiz was viewed as a great threat, a spiritual rebel whose insights emancipate his readers from the clutches of those in power. Those who exploit the innocent with insane religious propaganda. Does this sound familiar? Does any of this sound familiar? Yes, no, maybe? Medicine is like the new religion now. And that's the propaganda that's being propagated. The same with anything, a lot of other things that are more or less the New World Order direction. For Hafiz reveals a God with a billion IQ, a God that would never cripple us with guilt or control us with fear. So those who don't believe in God are ruled by men who propagate fear. And that is why we're in this situation with this COVID-19. Is that there's so many people who don't believe in God that they are running in fear because they don't know where this came from, and they're afraid of death. They're afraid of sacrificing themselves for the lives of others. There's no heroism in hiding in your home, afraid of going out in the world and continuing to live. God would never put something like that on us. If it is meant to be, it is meant to be. There is no taking it back. If an animal makes it, an animal makes it. It doesn't have human interjection to decide whether it lives or not. It is at the whim in the hands of God. And that is, I will always stand by that. I would much rather die by the hands of God than by the hands of men who inject me with poisons. No way. No thanks. One of the reasons for Hafiz's great popularity is that for centuries he has been considered a living oracle, able to impart the most intimate, timely advice. The typical reader of Hafiz's poems turns to them as one might turn to an astrologer, a horoscope, or a medium. It is said that Queen Victoria used to consult Hafiz in this manner. Now, I always say this, or I say this a lot, where we're so stuck on titles and like, I'm a doctor, I went to school for this, and labels, and this is who I am, and this is what I did, and this is what. Hafiz wasn't anybody in particular. He didn't go to Harvard school to learn how to be a poet. Like, we're in our society today, it's like if you didn't go study to be whoever, a poet, then you're not a poet. You don't have any rights to be a poet. And it's like, it's such a bogus mentality to label people in that way and say, you know what, you're not smart enough to understand this because you didn't go to school for it. Well, that's a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. A lot of people were very intelligent for a long time without professional education. Before professional or public education, you went and saw particular people, or sophists, if you will, for your advanced knowledge. But as Socrates would say, who says what the sophist is telling you is true? What makes his knowledge the knowledge to know? Is it the only knowledge? Is it the only way to do something? Of course not. Math might be written and 2 + 2 is 4, no matter who you talk to. But how you are trained into learning 2 + 2 is 4 is dependent on the person you're learning from. So that's the same with anything. Same with the sophist. If the sophist is manipulating your mind to believe that 2 + 3 is 4, or whatever, or is set to confuse you, then what makes that teacher a good teacher? How would you know if it's a good teacher? You wouldn't. Because if you're giving yourselves to that entity that says, I'm here to learn and they're here to teach me, and I just expect them to do it because that's what they're supposed to do, well, that's going about very ignorantly and blindly. To just trust somebody because they're a doctor or they're a scientist is a bunch of baloney. You have to do the work yourself. You can't just say, oh, MSNBC said it, or New York Times said it, or watch. There's language in those articles that you can go in through and debunk the information that they're telling you. And even then, even if what they write is true, according to them, have you dove in further to prove that they're wrong? And why not? Or why would you? I mean, a lot of people just don't, they take it for face value because why would a journalist company lie to them? I don't know, because it's called propaganda. Well, that's, like how things work, and that's how you manipulate minds, and that's why we have a world full of sheep. So it's a really difficult thing dealing with sheep right now. Continuing on, it's just interesting about Hafiz. So Rumi, Kabir, Sadi, Shams, Francis of Assisi, Ramakrishna, Nanak, Milarepa, and Lao Tzu are among the many known to have achieved perfection or union because of their extraordinary romance with the beloved. They are sometimes called realized souls or perfect masters. As Hafiz wrote, the voice of the river that has emptied into the ocean now laughs and sings, just like God. In this portion, he says, I have learned so much. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even pure soul. Love has befriended Hafiz so completely, it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. And that is the purity and love and amazingness of God. God opens our minds to what is possible because we limit ourselves in the possibilities when we don't understand who God is. So let's go over these numbers, shall we? This is the CDC numbers, or really it's the worldometers.info information. As of today, worldwide, 114,247 deaths, 1,853,155 confirmed cases. Pretty sure, so almost 2 million confirmed cases. There's 7 billion people in the world. We haven't tested everybody yet. As long as, according to these numbers, we still haven't tested everybody yet, but we have 114,000 people dead, right? Out of 1,853,155 confirmed cases for a 6.17% death rate. Geez, I wonder what that death rate would be if everybody was tested. In fact, I saw a new thing come out recently. People were sharing that one person infects 15 people with this COVID-19. They're learning new stuff every day. Oh, now it's spreadable within 13 feet of people, not 6 feet. So now you guys stand 13 feet back of everybody. You know what? We should all just live in bubbles. You know, Bubble Boy actually was a great movie. It makes me think of that. We should all just live in bubbles and not touch anything and not do anything and not see anybody, and just, can we just stay in your home? Don't move. You'll be so much better. Don't even go see the sun. The sun is irrelevant. Plants are unnecessary. You don't need plants, fruits, vegetables at all. You know what you need is some more medication. Okay? We will medicate you to health. And we'll do that by making it free. Free for everybody. And bread lines. Bread lines are wonderful. The bread lines are a good thing. Right? Just like, you know, the Russian gulags. So 423,554 people have survived, have recovered from this thing, for a 3.71 to 1 ratio, which is 78.77% recovery rate to death rate. Okay. In the US, 22,115 people have died, 560,433 have confirmed cases, for a 3.95% death rate. Again, a lot of these people that are dying, if they have the disease in them when they die, they're dying by the COVID-19. Now, why is that happening? Why is it being recorded that way? Maybe to manipulate the numbers. Why would they manipulate the numbers? To strike fear in people. Why would they want to strike fear in people? So they can ruin our lives. That's the way it works. It's not a secret. It's not complicated to understand. It's in Hafiz and Wayne Dyer and Lao Tzu and Socrates. And they're do this on purpose. It's been going on for thousands of years, since the beginning of mankind. That there's been evil people out there that have put themselves in power and control, and it's about controlling your mind, all right, and controlling your body. And the only way to do that is several ways. Fear. They figured out there's a psychological way to break people down. They figured that one out, and it was discovered when they started doing Joseph Mengele's study during Nazi Germany, and they haven't gotten rid of that practice. They've just implemented that on a under the radar scale, through mind manipulation, television, stress, pushed our mind, body, and soul to the brink, where we don't have faith, we don't believe in God, we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust anything. We rely on government to come up with our solutions. I mean, being without power really bothers me, that I'm so dependent on having power. 5 years ago, I was going to live out of a bus, so I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to be controlled by having my power on. I'm like, damn, what am I going to do? I don't have internet. I barely call out of my house. I could barely have a phone call. I didn't have data. Everything was down. I could barely make a phone call. So when that's all shut down, what do? I didn't have enough water. I don't have, my food's all going to go bad. I don't have a generator. And even then, if I had a generator and shit's hitting the fan, I have to have fuel. I have to have gasoline. Well, where's the gasoline come from? I'm not just going to mine some oil and start producing gasoline. I have to go buy it. So it's like, man, we're really at the whim of the people in power. I hate it. It's the government. The government's in control. The elitists are in control. The corporatists are in control. It's really sickening. So anyway, 3.95% death rate in America. 32,634 recovered for 1.48 to 1 ratio of recovered to deaths, which is 59.68% recovery rate. Over the last couple days, this weekend, since I last reported in, 6,706 recovered, 5,424 died for a 55.36% recovery rate. So we're just the last couple days, a little bit lower recovery than on the whole since the beginning of this thing. Again, not everybody survived. Not everybody's been tested. So we've had people that have had this thing that haven't reported it, haven't been recorded. We've got the death rate, which is conflated because people are dying with it in them, not because of the virus themselves. And here we sit shutting down all of society while people kill themselves, commit suicide. What's the unemployment going to be? I don't even know. The last time I knew it was about 10 million people. What's it going to be? 20 million people unemployed. There's talk of it going all the way up to 40 million people unemployed. Small businesses going bankrupt. Every business going bankrupt. Think about retail stores. Everybody. How many people are going bankrupt? How many people are going to kill themselves? But don't think about those people. Don't think about the people who are in mental health crisis before this whole thing took place. Let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the 85-year-olds who are dying. Now, no offense to 85-year-olds. This isn't an argument of like, I want people to die who are 85. This is who's dying? What's worse? There's no good answer. There's bad and there's worse. So are we taking the bad or are we taking the choice or the worst choice? Because to me, the worst choice is shutting down society, putting 40 million people on unemployment, making the government bail us out with $2 trillion. It's not even a bailout. It's just going to send a bunch of money to a bunch of people. We're never going to see the back end of this thing. $2 trillion, 40 million people unemployed. People are going to start killing themselves. They're already doing it. We can't handle the stress. We can't handle this sitting inside. Quarantining people who are healthy is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard of in my life, and it's really frustrating because people are like, stay inside, save lives, No, F that. We need to get back to work or we're all going to die. Because how many people have been put at risk at this point? 350 million Americans, that's for sure. So 22,115 have died. We don't even know if that's accurate based on the ridiculous calculations that are going on. 22,000 people. Okay, so 22,000 people is still a lot of dead people, but is it as bad as putting 40 million on unemployment? We haven't even begun to see the ripple effects here. How about child abuse, spousal abuse? People going insane, struggling to go to the grocery store, everybody wearing masks. Like, the mask is not going to save you. I've seen so many people wearing masks who don't even know what, like, they don't understand the concept of it. They start grabbing their mask and moving, and they're not washing their hands after they touch their mask. That's where the freaking virus is, right? And it's not vacuum sealed to your face. You need like a scuba mask on with a wetsuit. To protect yourself from this friggin' virus. Wearing a stupid paper or a cloth, or it gets in here's a way to check it. Start painting with an oil paint. Wear your mask. Paint with an oil paint. Can you smell the paint? If you can smell the paint, then the mask isn't working. You may be limiting your exposure or your potential to expose other people. But you're not stopping it. It's it's just so dumb. It's so dumb. This whole thing is dumb. And there's nothing more I can say to that, because it's not going to change people's minds. People are going to jump off the cliff anyway because they believe that the government and the CDC and the WHO and the scientists and doctors are telling them what to do in their best interest. And we're going to listen to Bill Gates. We're going to wait. People are going to refuse to go to sporting events unless they're vaccinated from this COVID-19. You're going to start forcing people to vaccinate themselves to exist in society? Is that where we're going with this? Because that's where people are going, or really sheeple are going with this, because they are the sheep are going to drive the mandatory vaccinations, because they think, based on the lies that they're getting from the WHO, the communists, and the CDC, they think that that information is accurate, and that's what's going to save them, whatever information they're being spoon-fed, instead of doing their damn research. Deep breath, man. Deep breath. And it goes right into my next thing, which is talking about discernment again. I don't trust hardly anything. When you wake up, when I woke up, and this is not just for me, this has happened to a lot of people. When you actually wake up to what's been going on in the world, in your life, and how you've been lied to so badly, and realize how badly we've been stolen from and taken advantage of, that we're being censored from social media sites, gaslighted by media, politicians. It's a hard wake-up call. It's a very sombering wake-up call. At first, you're very overwhelmed, to the point where you're sad and you start having a mental breakdown, and you got to hold yourself together. And you get through that, and then you get really mad. You get really mad that you've been lied to. You get mad that because you fell for the trick, and it seems like your whole life is a regret that you wish you could take back and do over again. And then you settle back into this, well, F it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do about it? I can't do anything. I'm just one person. These are the phases of the awakening that you go through. And so you then realize that the only way to truth is through personal enlightenment. God, the universe, the Tao, self-fulfillment, what is morally correct morals, integrity, honesty, respect, love. Those are the ways, that is the way, or those are the ways to enlightenment and to truth. Because when you start giving yourself in to the universal truth, it shows you and leads you to the way. And there is no other option then. And you must then study and research and not just settle for scientists and doctors, for media that tell you what to do and what to think and who to believe. And experts are on top of this. Experts. They don't give you a name. They hide their sources. They just tell you the experts. Well, I don't believe that BS. In fact, I do my research to prove that I know what I'm talking about. It's so important, and it takes digging and rabbit holes and deeper and deeper and deeper in research and data. And the further you go, the connections start lining up. And the problem is that the truth is buried in a haystack, in 5 haystacks. especially now with the amount of information coming out. The more information comes out, the further the truth gets buried. And the worst part is, when the truth does come out, no one cares. No one cares that you were right. No one cares that you were ahead of the curve. They now want to know, well, what are you going to do about it now? It doesn't prove anything for anybody. It doesn't change how people think or how people feel. It doesn't change their stress or the anxiety around the situation. Now they want a solution. And then they're saying, well, why haven't you come up with a solution? You're just screaming at the wind. Yeah, I've been screaming at the wind for 5 years. Nobody wanted to listen. That's okay. Maybe the time is now that people wake up. Maybe the time is now that people find their spiritual destiny, their enlightenment of their own, because people are waking up. But it's a scary thing, and for those who are new to it, we need people to help them through it. We need people who understand it, who've been through it themselves. So to discern the truth, you must not just rely on one source or two sources or 5 sources. Like there's certain entities that I watch. I love listening and watching Dan Bongino, but just because I get my information from him doesn't mean what he's saying is true. I have to double check his sources. I have to make sure that what he's spinning is true so that I'm not regurgitating false information just because he said it, because I believe it to be true. If I'm regurgitating bad information, I'm no different than the propagandists themselves. That's the problem. I become a mockingbird too. So I have to be damn well sure that I'm researching my information and researching the information given to me by others before I fully trust it. Someone tells me that Bill Gates is a eugenicist who is looking into population control. We can call it a conspiracy theory, sure. But we can also call it a conspiracy theory that you don't believe it. What if it is true and you're saying that's not true, and it's that you're a conspiracy theorist too that's saying it's not true because it is true? So what is true? That's the question we all have to get to. But it all takes our own vigilant desire to learn, to educate ourselves. And we have to be open-minded, and it helps to be enlightened. So moving on, ran into some interesting things in my baking drawer that I don't want. Here's one. What is this prize gem? Imperial's cinnamon flavored cake mate. Let's see. Red 40. Petroleum food dye. Here's another one. Green sparkles. Ooh. Let's see. Red 40, blue 1, yellow 6, yellow 5 food dyes. Petroleum based. Carcinogens. Here's another one. Here's another one. This is blue. I got red, green, blue. Oh, then I got some jimmies here. Nice little jimmies. Yeah, these look good, right? Put those on top of my ice cream. Put it on my cupcakes. Spooky sprinkles. So cool. Bats and pumpkins. Halloween non-perils. Ghosts and sprinkles. This is so neat, right? Oh, so cool. First ingredient is sugar, cornstarch, rice flour, palm oil. Palm oil is palm trees grown in the rainforest. So they're plowing down rainforest to grow palm trees so that we can have palm oil in our food. And it's really actually palm oil, if you look it up, is really not good for our bodies. We're not made to ingest it. Polysorbate 60, that's an interesting one. I wonder what that one does. FD&C red 40, red 3, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1. Oh, yum. Natural and artificial flavor in yellow 6 lake. What the frig does that even mean? Yellow 6 lake, it sounds pleasant. Here's one. What's this one? This is cupcake gems. Oh, yes. real diamonds in this thing. Let's see, artificial color. Is that nuts? Am I supposed to eat that artificial color? Where did that come from? They must have just got that from a plant. Here's another good one. Vanilla flavor premium, artificially flavored vanilla. Oh my goodness. I bet this is really good stuff. You know, I bet this is original. This is probably original vanilla from, like, you know, back in the 1300s when they were, like, you know, on the spice trail. You wanted some vanilla, they gave some, you know, this vanilla flavor premium artificially flavored vanilla, right? I'm sure my body was born to have that. And so what's the point of all this stuff? All this stuff here, FDA approved. Petroleum-based, carcinogen-based dyes in our food have been FDA approved. But the FDA will not approve freaking water. Or marijuana for that regard. So if that doesn't tell you anything, then what does? Anything that's good or useful is illegal. But pharma drugs are totally fine. Food is not your medicine. We're not going to recommend fruits and vegetables, oranges, apples, bananas, kale, spinach, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. No, no, no. We're not drinking lots of water. We would not want you to get the wrong idea about your body. Listen to us. You need to take a drug. We need to inject you with something, and we'll make it all better every time one of these things comes around. So when is the next thing? And if you're still eating crap like this, then damn sure you better be concerned. But I ain't concerned because I'm drinking the non-FDA approved Japanese medical device water. So you eat crap, I take care of myself, and I got to pay the price by sitting inside? F that. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people I know, doctors that I talk to, that are just unbelievable. This whole thing is unbelievable. How many people are going to kill themselves? How many businesses out of business? How many people aren't going to be off their asses? How much tyranny are we walking into? We're walking into a police state where people are going to be reporting on each other. They're encouraging that. You insane? I don't think so. We want to live in an Orwellian society. We're doing it. We've been talking about it for years. It's really interesting, actually. It's like we've been living like the Orwellian society, but it's just been kind of under the radar, kind of like a joke, like make Orwell fictional again. There was that was kind of like trending for a while. That was like a couple of years ago. That was trending. Not good, dude. Like, we can't go down this path. So my last story of the day, because we're running short on time, is it is Easter, right? Easter, and what is Easter? Easter is the first Sunday after the Paschal moon, after the vernal equinox. So Easter comes at a particular time when the universe aligns. And this goes to Stonehenge. Stonehenge can predict 99.999999999% of lunar eclipses, but they're just random stones, right? Mayan temples and Egyptian pyramids happen to look alike. What? Whatever. Am I insane? No. Y'all insane. Okay? Because there's something bigger out there. It's like human civilization is known, and I think it's longer than this, is known to be around for about 12,000 years. I'm here for about 100, give or take, right? So what am I doing for the other 11,900 years? The universe is so massive, we're like a billion stars for every grain of sand on this planet. It's infinite. It is endless. It is tangible and we can touch it. So interesting. That's the universe. That's God. That's the Tao. Formed but formless at the same time. So what is Easter? Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox. Okay, that's cool. So it has nothing to do with when Jesus was reborn, because it's a random day that constantly changes, right? It has to do with the universe. It has to do with rebirth of the sun, of getting life back to Earth. We honor the sun, the S-U-N, not the S-O-N. I know this is going to blow up some people's worlds. At this point, what does it matter? At what point do we start learning about the truth of why things are the way they are? The constellations aren't just some fictional thing. It's not some hootenanny Egyptian astrologist from a couple thousand years ago that happened to know what he was talking about, or Galileo. So, what is Christmas? Christmas is having Mass on Christ's day. That is its intention. It is not about getting the next great Tonka truck, or the new Mercedes, or stockings full of chocolate and gifts 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 for your kids and your grandkids and everybody else. What is Christmas about? If we don't understand the true meaning of Christmas, then why the frig do we celebrate it? Christmas, so the winter solstice, going back to astrology and the universe, is that the winter solstice is on the 21st of December. And for 3 days, the time does not change. The sun sets at the same time. The sun rises and sets at the same time for 3 days. On the fourth day would be the 25th of December. We celebrate the start of the sun coming back and giving us warmth. The S-U-N, not the S-O-N. It is all about the universe. It is not the man-made creation of God. God is the universal energy that we use. God is something that you must believe in to enjoy, to help you interpret life, to give you strength, to give you courage. That energy is true. God is true. It is indescribable. Science cannot define it. But we can define, we can analyze the constellations and our zodiac signs and how we correlate to the creation of Earth and how everything functions and why it functions. We're going through a paradigm shift right now of epic proportions. What is happening today will be written in history books for you're going to be in there, just like the fall of the Roman Empire, just like Genghis Khan, Napoleon, Jesus, and everybody else that's made the record books. We're going to be in there during this time frame. This is epic. It is epic times. I really have nothing else to say. I mean, I could go on and on and on for much longer than that, but we're at 48 minutes. And I need to carry on with my evening. It's about 11:54, almost midnight. I got to get to bed. I don't know what my plan is tomorrow. I think I'm working, but I guess it depends on, I got other things I got to do, so we'll see. But either way, I want y'all to have an awesome Monday. Remember, this thing is a friggin' hoax. We're being had. We're being had right now. There's no threat. Okay, here's the numbers right here. Okay, 114,247 deaths worldwide, 22,115 in this country. If 1 million people died from this friggin' virus, it would still be less than the number of deaths we're going to have from shutting everything down. There, I said it. We're being had. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's what I want to know. When are we going to change the current? When are we going to change the tide? When are we going to stop living in fear? Because I'm freaking sick of it. You guys think about that one. Have an awesome day. Get your bootstraps on. Get back to what you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing, take your precautions, of course, but we can't have this. We can't have a police state. We can't have people narking on each other for going outside, or policemen taking license plates or whatever. It doesn't get better from here, trust me. We're in for a major wake-up call. Are you ready? Give me a shout, logicalhippie@gmail.com. See me at Light News. You got me here on the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, like the content, and I got your back. Trust me, I will be here for you all day. You all have a great one. We'll see you.